Opposition leader reacts strongly to O'Neill's statement. Inaugural board of SME Corporation sworn in. And 33 finalists nominated for SP Sports Awards.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Tuesday's news. Opposition leader Sam Basil has reacted strongly to a statement released over the weekend in which the Prime Minister presented a set of points defending his current stand. In a news conference yesterday, Basil maintains the office of the Prime Minister needs to be protected through an appropriate response from the PM. The Prime Minister's 5-page statement covered wide-ranging issues related to his warrant of arrest, which included reasons for the legal path he took.
And now,
Opposition leader Sam Basil yesterday lashed out over the full-page ad taken by the Prime Minister in one of the daily newspapers. The ad lists key points, including reasons why he had taken the matter to court. Basil's position is that any evidence or defense should be presented in court, not in the media.
it has to be done in the courthouse, not in the papers. And the papers must not be used to run trials.
The PM's statement comes in response to ongoing unrest in both the University of Papua New Guinea and the University of Technology. The student unions calling for the Prime Minister to step aside to answer to corruption allegations brought against him. In a 5-page media statement released Sunday, the Prime Minister appealed to the university students to return to class, also highlighting his personal experiences both as a student in a university and as a student from a remote region of the country. It's the 4 pages attached to the statement that has drawn the attention of the opposition. The Prime Minister stated that he exercised his constitutional right primarily because there was a denial of natural justice, a lack of concrete evidence, and that the investigation was flawed. On the one hand, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says the office of the Prime Minister has to be protected and can't be demeaned by an arrest warrant. On the other hand, former Prime Ministers Sir Michael Somare and Sir Mikere Morauta, along with other parties including students, argue that the Prime Minister should protect the integrity of the Prime Minister's office and step aside. The Prime Minister has reiterated he will not step down, but this comes amidst a defiant student voice who have voted for a boycott to continue. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Morobe's Provincial Education Advisor Keith Jiram has barred Lae secondary and high school students from taking part in any student demonstrations in the city. His decision follows calls by other senior education officials for students to return to class. An announcement yesterday by Unitec students for a public awareness to be staged on Wednesday in the city may also involve secondary school students. So far, one secondary school has stopped its students from participating. Attorney General Arno Pala's application to join the case of National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Office Director Matthew Damaru was refused by Justice Alan David in the National Court this morning. The joint application was filed by his lawyer, Ralph Saulep, yesterday, arguing that the Attorney General, by virtue of the office, should have been part of the matter from the beginning. Vasinata Yama reports.
Justice Alan David made the ruling that the matter does not concern the Attorney General. Pala was hoping to join the matter as the third defendant by virtue of his office, making the state the fourth defendant. Justice Allen stated that Pala's lawyer failed to present a case strong enough to warrant the approval. The matter was brought to the court by Matthew Damaru on April 17th as the Director of National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate. He was suspended by Police Commissioner Gary Baki on the 16th of April in relation to the recent arrest of high-profile people, in which Baki said he was not made aware of. However, Damaru's suspension was stayed by the court on April 18th, pending the hearing of the suspension processes. The Attorney General, when filing the joint application yesterday, also questioned the engagement of Australian lawyer Greg Egan and Gemma lawyers to represent Matthew Damaru in this matter. His lawyer Saulep said Egan and McDonald Nale from Gemma Lawyers are representing them illegally. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Former Madang Open MP Alois Kingsley Golu has appeared at the Kokopo National Court this morning for misappropriation charges. Mr. Golu will be answering to misappropriation charges amounting to about 6.6 million kina. The court heard that the former member allegedly misappropriated more than 6 million kina from a 125 million kina Sovereign Community Infrastructure Treasury Bill, which was intended for infrastructure development purposes in Kokopo District. It was alleged that Golu paid the amount to his own company, the Kokopo Earth Moving Limited, to construct a water project in Kokopo. He was arrested in September 2011 following accusations, but the court hearing was deferred on numerous occasions. Justice Salatiel Lenalia today further adjourned the case to the 8th of August. The court has extended the bail terms, however, asked Golu to report to the National Fraud Registry at the Waigani Courthouse every Friday to maintain his bail condition until the court resumes in August. Today marked an important milestone for the Small and Medium Enterprises Corporation as 6 members of the inaugural board were sworn in. This comes just over a year after the SME Corporation Act came into effect in February 2015. With the governance process now complete and the launch of the SME policy and master plan out of the way, SME Corporation Managing Director Stephen Macken appealed to the government for adequate funding to achieve its goals of growing the number of SMEs in PNG.
Management and staff of SME Corporation gathered to witness the swearing-in ceremony of the inaugural SME Corporation Board. SME Corp Managing Director Stephen Macken said for too long, the bulk of Papua New Guineans have remained spectators in their land whilst their resources are plundered. He called for strong financial support from the government to enable the growth of local SMEs in the country from 50,000 to 500,000 by 2030.
My appeal to the government is that SME Corporation cannot respond with inadequate funding and an all-obsolete SPDC structure. It cannot continue to receive low funding, operate on outdated structure, and be expected to achieve the desired outcomes.
The swearing-in was overseen by the Principal Magistrate of the Port Moresby District Court, Jimmy Tapat. The board is headed by Chairman and Director Michael Mell, a businessman representing the Highlands region, and Deputy Chairman Des Yaninen, Director representing the banks and financial institutions. Chairman Michael Mell made a strong statement that if the SME sector was alive and well in the country, PNG would not be in a financial crisis situation.
The biggest job of SPDC is that we have to start to incubate businesses from the ground level up, and those that are in the middle, we have to push them a bit further, and those that are a little bit above the quarter, we push them up, and the top, we have to push them out. So SME Corporation has a big responsibility, but it will totally depend on whether the government can be able to sustain and give the support that we need.
The other members of the board include Richard Bradshaw, representing Southern Region, Kevin Isifu, representing Momasa Region, Trisa Jaintong, representing New Guinea Islands Region, and Amanda Donigi, representing the youth. Ex-official members include the Secretaries for National Planning and Commerce and Industry. The first board meeting will be held this evening, where they will be addressed by the Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Richard Maru. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
In news just in, Lae Metropolitan Superintendent Anthony Wagambi has authorized an awareness meeting to be staged by the students from the University of Technology. Wagambi gave the late afternoon authorization after a lengthy meeting with students to discuss the conditions of the awareness. Students will travel to the Eriku Oval by buses under police escort. They have also been warned against speaking out about issues that may be deemed contemptuous by the courts. Businesses have been encouraged to proceed as normal. Among stories after the break, Health Minister issues a number of directives to the Mount Hagen Provincial Health Authority and developments to continue for rural lockups. Welcome back to National MTV News. Following an inquiry into the Western Highlands Provincial Health Authority, Health Minister Michael Malabag says there are irregularities in the contract terms of the Chief Executive Officer. The minister has directed the CEO to step down and allow for an acting appointment while investigations are underway. Furthermore, the board has been directed to immediately work with the Department of Personnel Management to correct any irregularities and address other concerns raised.
The inquiry report of the Western Highlands Provincial Health Authority was presented today by Minister Malabag, revealed irregularities. The report found that there is no substantive breakdown into the Western Highlands Provincial Health Authority's administration and delivery of health services outside of Mount Hagen Provincial Hospital.
The processes, will and must be, improved and monitored to ensure powers are, more or less exercised in accordance with legislative responsibilities. So I want the board to report to me within 21 days of some of those issues that have been raised. Now there appears to be irregularities in the contract term and formalization of the CEO's contract
on personal matters,
and the arrangements with the deputy CEO's contract. So I think those were also issues that you raised. So more or less issues that we raised on the recruitment practices. In the meantime, I will also ask the board to appoint a CEO, acting CEO on interim arrangements. But I want someone from outside to go in. None of anybody in Mount Hagen, because everybody has a conflict of interest over there.
On financial issues, the board has been directed to request the finance minister to authorize the department conduct an investigation into the financial record of the project management unit.
There are matters that have been raised on certain financial issues. For me, it is not possible to make a conclusive finding on the legitimacy of the payment accounting and reporting system unit, the PARSU, given lack of substantial information. Therefore, I am directing the board that this matter will be referred to the Auditor General for his consideration and appropriate investigation.
The report also outlined the deteriorating infrastructure and for the immediate construction of the nurses' accommodation.
I will seek the assistance of the Department of Works to examine and advise on the structural defects in the buildings in Mount Hagen. They're specialist engineers for works to go up and examine those ones that are also contained in the body of the report. So I will also be directing the board, the health department, to work closely with Treasury and planning departments to identify funding.
Employees union within the health sector said the inquiry report is more favorable and thanked the committee and the health minister for looking into this issue.
Some of the decisions will take time, some will take days. And that is how the decision has been made, so we are very happy now. So I appeal to the staff of Western Highlands who are now working to go back and work, and the normal decisions are going to come and play now.
But in the meantime, I'm appealing to the management on the ground to ensure that they must keep on delivering the service and improving the service on the ground while investigation team is going on. Thank you.
But in the meantime, his directions will be carried forward, especially to the board, which is the ultimate authority to the boards.
Fabian Haklitz, National MTV News.
Correctional Services Commissioner Michael Waipo says infrastructural development in Misima, Milne Bay Province, and the relocation of rural lockup centers in West Sepik, Manus, and New Island provinces will continue. Waipo made the announcement this morning following his reinstatement as CS Commissioner by the Waigani National Court last Thursday.
The Rural Lockup Initiative and the relocation of selected correctional centers in Papua New Guinea were two areas of focus Commissioner Waipo anticipated on developing upon his appointment in 2014. However, because of his revocation in February following a National Executive Council decision to appoint Bernard Nepo as Commissioner, work on these initiatives were slow. This morning, Waipo assured the media that though these projects are a few weeks behind the scheduled time, work will still continue.
Stand here to continue to see that infrastructure development projects are implemented.
Waipo was terminated as CS Commissioner on February 9th this year. The matter was taken to court and a Supreme Court decision stayed Waipo's suspension after the court found that the manner in which he was terminated was in breach of the Public Service Management Act. On this ground, the National Court last Thursday restored Waipo to his post as Commissioner.
I am back now and want to ensure that we have actually 5 months behind or late. And we really have to pick up and implement some of the priorities that are contained therein with the limited resources available to us at this point.
Meanwhile, Waipo has called on all CS officers in PNG to perform their duties accordingly, as he will be working closely with CS Minister Jim Simatab and the government to serve the department.
I now call on all the officers in all our correctional institutions to continue to perform their duties professionally and making sure that we take care of our prisoners.
Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Broken pipes and leaking taps at Lay's Bumbu Police Barracks are the main causes why the police department owes a substantial amount of money to Water PNG. Customer Service Manager of Water PNG, Wallace Pingin, says some of the old police houses, when taken down, did not have their water supply disconnected. The leakages were never fixed, resulting in the accumulation of water bills over the years.
Water PNG had recently disconnected water at the Bumbu Police Barracks due to the considerable amount of money the police department owes them. The department had reconnected water to the police barracks. They now owe 2.9 million kina. Water PNG has discovered that families of policemen and women have been using the water for washing, cooking and laundry for many years.
It's a very essential service that we provide for the people in Ley.
Customer Service Manager of Water PNG, Wallace Pingin, says they are now working to fix the problem. As a social responsibility, they are assisting the police department to locate the main water supply and block off the main water lines. This will save the department from high water bills.
We can minimize the police costs.
Pingin said they have also been notified of leaks in most of the police houses due to the deteriorating state of those houses. For now, they can only fix the problem if the department can supply them with the materials. They will continue to fix the leakage problem at the barracks. They will also assist the 10 city police barracks. Mata Luis, National MTV News, Ley.
And now looking at our finance news. The kina opened unchanged at 0.3165 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying 0.3090 US dollars, 0.4199 Australian dollars, 0.2685 euro and 33.25 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed lower, while coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day higher. Palm oil closed higher, while crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 34.72 points lower, the ASX closed at 19.41 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 13.77 points lower. In the news ahead, Westpac celebrates 106 years and one Pakistani woman's fight for equal rights in sports. Welcome back. Vice Minister for Intergovernment Relations, Jo Seung-gi, says district development officials need more training to effectively perform their duties. He challenged the Department of Provincial and Local Government Affairs to conduct training in provinces, districts and at ward levels to enable officials to deliver vital governmental services.
For the very first time,
Vice Minister for Intergovernment Relations, Jo Seung-gi, said there is lack of capacity building to deliver these vital government services. He said district development administration officials needed more training to effectively carry out their roles and responsibilities. The Vice Minister said trainings received by district administrators at the Institute of Public Administration fall short of the need to manage huge public funds allocated by the national government.
Most of the LG officers that we are now sending back from us training in IPA, IPA, they can't display the experience and the level that they attained. And so I'm saying that this department should do it directly.
He challenged the Department of Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs employees to go into the provincial districts and ward levels and conduct training to DDA officials. This training will enable them to effectively carry out their duties, which will see effective service delivery in core government areas in all sectors.
That will increase the manpower is this department. Why? Because the funding is there now at the district level. Who's going to assist them? Who's going to assist the district staff? It's this department.
However, over the years, continuous government support results in lack of government capacity to deliver. He said with the government 10 million Kina DSIB funding to all levels of government, the only provinces that see development are those working closely with the government.
With the government's new directive to focus on the districts and local level governments, it's important that we all work as partners to see that we can deliver the services required by our people in this country.
Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
A private school in Minch, Jiwaka Province has taken the initiative to groom its students with new uniforms. And this group of students are no ordinary students. They are adults who have never had the chance in education. Recently, the Jiwaka Adult Literacy School purchased new uniforms for more than 200 students, giving the new school a sense of identity.
Of eradicating illiteracy amongst adults, Andrew and Georgina Kama have started the Jiwaka Adult Literacy School. When we first visited the school in February, the school had less than 100 students. However, the enrollment has increased.
Division Education Province, we obviously launching this uniform from Jiwaka Adult Literacy School.
Adults are attending this school, classes ranging from elementary to grade 6, and this school has given another opportunity for people like Tony, who have never completed primary education due to different reasons.
We've been making grade 1 Brumilo Fogara Payam International. We've been making elementary Brumina, grade 1. We've been making lab na we've been losing. Daddy Brumiam so work Fogara na me. Losing lab na me sa bilim sem. Legan Brumi bagrab so me sa bilim sem local school na this line of Mr. Laos ko. Emas 15 years na put Mr. Laos. We've been no school so Mr. Laos ko go na this la school kirab so me amas lo.
The school gets its funding from individuals like Andrew Kama and wife, but there is need for assistance for infrastructure development. However, the Education Department of Jiwaka Provincial Government is facing financial difficulties, but despite these difficulties, There is a commitment to assist the school in any way possible.
You missed up number 16 out of 23. Literacy, believe me, I'm very, very poor.
Founder of the center, Mr. Kama, is determined to continue and extend the grades to as far as high school and secondary level.
All kan man se mina kan se reaction mo sta bot mas come out na. All tram na help him boss. You mean wait so gapan ba kan help him. Really kom plan have some time gapan subsidy gam konjet some time gam konjet na only want to wait yet. Na now school we grab na some time this day we grab but na iblo kat uniform because ino mix faring lo one block na mi give no adam come through lo family money lo straight na. Mi sorry iblo so mi faring isla. Sabot people stop gapan stop so. Almost coming the time to boss. Lo magwa mi ba won na mi won kam mag so. Now we put on the public police one line now help him no almost come in now help me. Look up the school.
Michelle Amba, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Today, Westpac Bank celebrated 106 years since the opening of its first branch in Papua New Guinea. The bank was established as PNG's first commercial bank on the 10th of May 1910 when the Bank of New South Wales, as it was then known, opened in Port Moresby. Over the next 50 years, more branches opened across the country in Port Moresby, Milne Bay, East New Britain, New Ireland, Morobe and Madang Province. Westpac PNG's Managing Director, Jeff Toon, said today was a celebration of the long-lasting and deep relationship Westpac has with this country, supporting it since the beginning of PNG's trading economy. Russia has put its military might on display to mark Victory Day. Russia also said it would withdraw most of its forces from Syria, but CNN has a first-hand look at how military hardware and manpower are still on the ground.
This is the Russian intervention the world has come to know. But Russia's footprint in Syria seems to be far bigger than just combat jets. There are thousands of troops stationed at its main airbase, disciplined and highly motivated. We caught up with this first lieutenant during his boxing practice. I'm glad to serve my country here, he says, and I'm not afraid. What is there to be afraid of in Syria? The West has criticized Russia, saying its airstrikes target mostly moderate anti-Assad rebels, the Russians claiming they bomb only ISIS and other terror groups. But while Moscow says it's withdrawn most forces from Syria, on an embed we saw what appeared to be several bases in western and central Syria with a variety of attack helicopters. Also, a brand new base in Palmyra for its demining crews, with dozens of fighting vehicles and even anti-aircraft missile systems. On top of its own assets, the military spokesman says his forces closely cooperate with Bashar al-Assad's troops. We receive a great deal of information from the Syrian General Staff, he says. They are on the ground and close to the rebels. As for the military technical cooperation, of course, we help them as well. None of this seems to indicate a full Russian withdrawal from Syria anytime soon. And for many in the government-held part of Damascus, that's just fine. The people here in the government-held part of Damascus seem to be very well aware of the extent to which Russia's military has helped Bashar al-Assad's forces. But they also say that if there's going to be a solution to the Syrian crisis, it has to come from Syrians themselves and not from outside powers. Violence still rages in most of the country. Reconciliation seems nowhere in sight, and neither is an end to Russia's involvement in the conflict.
Life in Pakistan for women is extremely difficult, even though they are considered equal under the law. A young woman is looking to change that, especially in the world of sports.
A champion on the court, a fearless pioneer for young women.
I come from Waziristan, the most dangerous place on earth.
Born in one of the most conservative parts of Pakistan, Maria Topakai Wazir rejected the traditional role reserved for women in her country.
Girls have nothing, they just stay home, and from young age they are told that you're gonna get married.
At a very young age, she burned her girls' clothes, instead dressing and living as a boy. With her family support, she competed in sports. First weightlifting, then squash, quickly becoming the best in Pakistan. But when Maria stopped hiding her gender, she became the target of death threats from the Taliban. She was forced to leave her country, but kept competing. She's now one of the top female squash players in the world, as well as an author speaking out in support of women's rights.
And this is my moral responsibility to help all those girls and women who are being human, who are deprived of their basic rights, who are unable to explore those talents that God gave them, and who are enslaved by another human being.
And Chukai Sports is next. We'll be back after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. After a stellar year for sports in Papua New Guinea, 33 finalists have been chosen from the 138 nominations for this year's SP Sports Awards. Among the 11 categories are nominees for Male and Female Athlete of the Year and Team of the Year, while in the Sports Media category, EMTV is one of the nominees for its coverage of the 2015 Pacific Games. De Niro's Raiko has more.
Identical to last year's awards, 11 categories have been announced, which include the Male and Female Athlete of the Year and junior categories, as well as the Team of the Year and the National Performance of the Year, which recognizes the best sporting performance domestically. Israel Eliab is a surprise nomination for the sport of rugby league after performances for both the SP Hunters and the PNG Kumals, and joins Jack Viufa of bodybuilding and Ryan Pinney in the Male Athlete of the Year. For the women, Linda Pulsan in powerlifting, Abigail Tere Apisa for tennis, and no surprises with Toya Whistle in athletics. The men's Taj team joined the women's national football team and women's VAA, all three teams winning gold during the Pacific Games. In the junior male category, Commonwealth Youth Gold medalist in boxing Thaddeus Katua, Taekwondo silver medalist Max Kasman, and tennis player Matthew Stubbings have been rewarded with nominations, while court specialist Violet Apisa and Lynette Vai and Rama Kumilgo have been nominated in the junior female. In the Sport Official of the Year category, VAA's Jonathan Kasman, tennis Barbara Stubbings, and swimming's Liz Wells have been named. In the sports category, EMTV has received a nomination for the extensive coverage of the Pacific Games. Two nominees in Marlon Winston and Mark Talia for the sports photo category, round of 33 nominations. The 2016 SP Sport Awards will be held on Saturday, 4th of June at the Crown Plaza. Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
The Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League Board has acknowledged the overwhelming support from every Papua New Guinean following their 2-point victory over the Fiji Butties in the Pacific Test in Sydney over the weekend. Chairman Sandis Saka said on his return from Sydney yesterday, where he attended the Pacific Rim Rugby League Board meeting and watched the game, that he was humbled to learn of the overwhelming support given to the PNG LNG Kumals, Coach Michael Marum, and his support staff. Skipper David Mead, in his usual soft-spoken voice, conveyed his thanks and those of his teammates to each and every one of their support, well wishes and prayers. Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back. The 2016 women's snooker titles are set to queue off on Tuesday, the 24th of May. The snooker titles will be held at the Lamana Q Club, Dragon's Den, Laguna Hotel, and the Aviate Club in Port Moresby.
PNG BSA Vice President John Chen says the tournament will accommodate only 40 players this year.
Registration and nomination is 150 kina, and if you're already playing in the Port Moresby Pacific MMI Corporation competition, and 200 kina if not playing. 50 kina is to cover your affiliation to the local association and PNG BSA.
Briefing and draws for the tournament will be done on Monday, the 23rd of May, with the competition to start the next day.
The titles will run for 4 days with the finals to be held on Saturday, the 28th of May. NGCB has come on board to support the 2016 PNG Women's Snooker titles. Their support to women in sports and snooker in particular has seen the increase in participation over the years. Chen acknowledged other sponsors for also supporting the women's titles.
In Pacific MMI and Carindale Limited, gold sponsors Graffiti Science, LJ Hookers, Real Estate, Nichi Q's, silver sponsor Click TV, and bronze sponsor Sida Kui, in partnering with the National Gaming Control Board in supporting this women's event.
Elijah Lavette, National MTV Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather details next. And before we end the news, a story about one man's love affair with the environment. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, fine for all centers. In the Momase region, a chance of evening showers or two developing for all centers. In the New Guinea Islands, some showers and occasional thunderstorms for Lorengau, Kavieng and Buka, few showers and occasional thunderstorms for Kokopo and Rabaul, and a chance of a shower or two for Kimbe. In the Highlands region, fine then morning fog for Mount Hagen, Mendi, Wabek and Kundiawa, and chances of evening shower or two developing, then morning fog for Goroka. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG-Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerma, to Yule Island to Hood Point, to Samurai Island with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, and with waters of New Island to New Britain to Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finchafen, with waters of Finchafen through Vietis Strait to Long Island, including Siasi Islands, Dampier Strait, with waters of Long Island to Medang, to Bogia, to Wewak, to Aitape, to Vanimo and northern PNG-Indonesian border, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea sees slight to moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Solomon and Bismarck Sea sees slight with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean sees slight with northeast to southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. Peruvian actor and environmental activist Ricardo Torres has taken an ecological awareness campaign, Marry a Tree, Save Your Oxygen, to a literally new level. Torres married yet another tree as a symbol of his care and commitment to the environment.
The ceremony all started in the house of the groom's godmother with the traditional burning of incense to purify the groom's clothes and bouquet in preparation for the marriage ritual. Accompanied by village elders, friends and family, Torres walked down the Sabino Street in the town of Santa Maria del Tule, Mexico, towards a 2,000-year-old cypress tree. Torres sealed the marriage with the traditional exchange of rings and a kiss for his bride. According to the environmental activist, this marriage is not just a performance to him, but a symbolic commitment to care for the environment.
This is why my message of peace, of awareness. This wedding with the cypress tree is the symbol of this campaign. Marry a tree, Mexico. Save your oxygen, my brothers. I ask you to plant a tree, to look after your nature, your mountain, your river, your water, your food.
Torres added that for his honeymoon, he would plant a macule tree to reaffirm his green commitment and to wish for world peace.
Because we are off on a honeymoon to plant trees with the children, and the idea is to continue with this project. I am very excited because the project went ahead against all obstacles. Some people tried to oppose it, but as you saw, they weren't successful.
Melissa Guevara, EMTV World News.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Opposition leader reacts strongly to O'Neill's statement. Inaugural board of SME corporations sworn in, and 33 finalists nominated for SP Sports Awards. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight, Tuesday the 10th of May 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Hope Imaka. Pleasant viewing. Good night.